You can feel it when a playoff week shifts before the headline even hits your timeline. It's not a highlight. It's not a viral quote. It's a quiet signal. The kind that tells you the margin for error just got thinner. There's a missing piece in the secondary that suddenly matters on a short week. There's a wide receiver name being floated for 2026 that would be low risk and would split this fan base. There's a defensive leader back on the field changing the energy without taking a snap. And then there's Seattle, sitting there like a test you can't study for at the last second. Now hit like, make sure you're subscribed, and drop your take in the comments, because today is all about the details. And in January, details decide seasons. The loudest clue didn't come from something we saw. It came from someone we didn't. Kyle Shanahan said safety Ji'Ayir Brown is a long shot to play this weekend. Hamstring. Brown didn't practice on Tuesday, and on a short week, that's not a footnote. That's the kind of absence that forces you to show your hand. Who's ready? Who can communicate? Who can tackle in space when everything speeds up and the windows disappear? On the roster, the healthy safety options are Malik Mustafa, Jason Pinnock, and Marquez Sigel. On the practice squad, the only safety was Derek Canteen, and he hasn't stepped onto the field this season. So the front office made the kind of move that tells you exactly what they value right now. Per NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe, the 49ers are signing Derek Forrest to the practice squad. Experience walking through the door at the exact moment mistakes become season-ending. Forrest isn't just depth. He's got real special teams mileage. 472 special teams snaps over 4 seasons with Washington, including 32 in 2 playoff games last season. And if you're thinking, special teams, who cares? Let me say this. Playoff football is field position and discipline as much as it is touchdowns. One missed lane, one bad angle, one broken tackle, and suddenly you're defending a short field with your season on the line. Forrest has lived that world. That matters. He's also started games at safety, 1 in 2024, 5 in 2023, and 11 in 2022. So if Brown can't go, this isn't a random grab-a-body move. This is about trust. Translation, if Brown can't play on a short week, Forrest or Canteen is getting elevated to the active roster. And signing Forrest tells you where they're leaning. That's not disrespect to Canteen. It's January reality. You don't want your first real game reps to be in Seattle with everything on the line. Be honest. Roster math matters too. Unless the 49ers want to go into the game with 3 safeties and elevate another player, like Eli Apple, or maybe carry an extra wide receiver, they're going to have to decide where they want their flexibility. And Ricky Pearsall's health can absolutely factor into that decision. It's not glamorous, it's not a headline. It's the kind of decision that decides whether you're covered when the game gets weird. And it wasn't only the safety room getting attention. The 49ers also signed tight end Hayden Rucci to the practice squad. Rucci played 4 games in 2025 with the Detroit Lions. He also spent time on the Miami Dolphins practice squad in 2025. The corresponding move was releasing wide receiver Javon Baker from the practice squad. And wide receiver Colton Dowell signed a reserve/future contract. He's appeared in 10 games over a 3-year career, and he was with the Ravens practice squad up until October 25th of this year. Here's the thing. Part of why San Francisco is doing all of this isn't only about Saturday. They need bodies. They need scout team reps. Not every day will be a walkthrough, and you can't prep for what Seattle's defense does if you don't have enough people to simulate it. Even if we don't see Forrest or Rucci take meaningful snaps, they can matter all week in preparation. That's how teams stay sharp in January. Now, while the roster is adjusting for the here and now, there's also this quiet 2026 conversation that's starting to float around the league. There's talk that the 49ers could be monitoring Diontae Johnson as a low-risk, high-upside wide receiver ad for next year. Nothing is confirmed, no announcement, no confirmation, no he's visiting, but it's being floated in a way that makes football sense if you're the kind of team that expects to be playing in January every year. Start with the basic context. Diontae is available right now. He signed with the Cleveland Browns in April 2025 on a cheap one-year deal, and then he was released in August 2025, before the regular season. So heading into 2026, he's the type of veteran you can add without a bidding war, and contenders love those opportunities. Why would the fit in San Francisco be interesting? Think about what Kyle Shanahan's offense really is. Timing, quick windows, and yards after catch. It's getting the ball out on schedule, putting defenders in conflict, and forcing tackles in space. Diontae has always been known as a guy who can separate quickly, not winning with size, but winning with space. If the 49ers want someone who can help on third down, create immediate windows, and keep the offense on schedule, that's the profile. That's a get-out-of-jail answer when it's third and long and the pass rush is closing. And the price angle matters. Based on how 2025 ended for him, the deal should be team-friendly. That's the perfect setup for a prove-it contract. Short deal, maximum motivation, and a player trying to remind everyone he can still be an impact receiver. So I'm putting it on you, faithful. Would you bring Diontae Johnson into this offense as an immediate separation piece? Or would you rather the 49ers spend that money somewhere else? Drop "I'm in" or "no thanks" in the comments and tell me why. I want real reasons, because how you answer that says a lot about what you think this front office should prioritize heading into 2026. And while that rumor stirs the offense conversation, the defense just got its heartbeat back in the building. The 49ers opened up the practice window for Fred Warner to return from injury this week, giving him the opportunity to go through walkthroughs and get on the field as he tries to come back from a dislocated and fractured ankle. Now, before anybody gets carried away, Shanahan said Warner is not expected back this week, and the hope is he can return if the 49ers advance to the NFC Championship game, which always felt like the earliest timeline anyway. The decision is going to be up to the doctors, but Warner mentally sounds like he's ready right now. He said he's ready whenever they're ready, that there are boxes that have to be checked, and if it were just up to him, he'd be out there this weekend. He's pushing. He's training hard. He's back doing full football drills. Time will tell. Still, even without him playing this week, his impact is already being felt. Defensive coordinator Robert Saleh said it's just pure energy having Warner out there. Warner's the ultimate energy giver, and just his presence in walkthroughs has been a boost. And it's not only coaches. Teammates feel it too. Demarcus Robinson said you can feel Warner's presence more now that he's on the field with them. Kalia Davis described it in the most player way possible. He said he didn't even see him at first, but he felt something different, like an aura, and then turned around and realized Warner had a jersey on. That's uplifting. That's real. Think about that for a second. Even before he's cleared to play, the building is already responding to him being back around the action. But none of that wins in Seattle by itself. The 49ers survived Wild Card Weekend and earned the second trip this season to Seattle to face the Seahawks with a berth in the NFC Championship on the line. And that comes with extra weight, because we all remember what happened in the rematch. San Francisco won the opening game of the season at Lumen Field. But the contest just a few weeks ago at Levi's Stadium was the 49ers' worst offensive showing of the season. That loss helped force them into the NFC's number 6 seed and made the road to the Super Bowl that much tougher. One of the lowlights of that Week 18 loss was the overall play of the offense. Brock Purdy wasn't solely to blame, but he didn't play his best. He finished 19 of 27 for just 127 yards and an interception. Seattle's defense swarmed, squeezed windows, and made everything feel tight. And as the leader of the offense, a lot of that falls on Purdy, whether fair or not. So if the 49ers want to successfully lead the charge against a unit like the Seahawks, Purdy has to learn from that 13-3 loss from 2 weeks earlier. First, giving away the football. Purdy threw one interception against Seattle, and there's a case that it wasn't all on him. The ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage and then went through Christian McCaffrey's arms. For the pick by Seattle linebacker Drake Thomas. But Purdy also threw 2 interceptions against the Eagles in the wildcard game, and the 49ers survived. Against Seattle, points may be at a premium. You cannot hand them extra possessions. Second, what fans call the Brock curl. We've all seen it. The rush comes, and rather than stepping up, Purdy curls around to his left to buy time. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it turns into trouble. And against Seattle, it ran him into trouble more than once. Against a front that can close like that, he has to do what he did on the game-winning touchdown pass to McCaffrey on Sunday. Step up and let it rip. Cleaner feet, cleaner decisions, less panic movement. Third, converting on 3rd and 4th down. Against the Seahawks in Week 18, the 49ers were a combined 2 of 11 on 3rd and 4th down tries, and it led to San Francisco running only 42 plays on offense. That can't happen again. It's not fair to pin that all on the quarterback, but as the quarterback, that's part of the job description. For comparison, they were 6 of 11 on 3rd down against Philly, with no 4th down attempts. That's the difference between controlling a game and constantly playing from behind the script. Part of this comes down to being better on early downs and finding traction in the run game with McCaffrey and Brian Robinson. But when the money downs hit, 3rd and long, 4th and short, a tight red zone snap, it's on Purdy to be at his best, no matter what the situation looks like, if the 49ers want to pull off another road playoff win. So, that's the full picture. The roster is shifting to protect the secondary on a short week. A 2026 receiver idea is being floated that could change how this offense stays on schedule. Fred Warner's presence is already lifting the locker room. And now it's Seattle, where Purdy has to show he learned fast. If you're riding with the red and gold, hit like, subscribe, and tell me right now, do you believe this team has the composure to win on the road again? And what's the one thing you're most worried about in Seattle?